this morning. I'm sure that all of you have nothing better to do than stare at my face on a computer screen for a little while this morning. So I appreciate you making the time sacrifice and joining us today for the training. I think it's going to be quick, and I will try to get through everything and make it worth your time. And just as a heads up, I'm working remotely from beautiful Fort Valley near Flagstaff, where it's currently cloudy, but my internet is not quite as stable as I was hoping it would be. So just in case something goes wrong, I apologize in advance. I've tried to make sure that I've got my pages preloaded so we can move through it, but you just never know with technology. Anything can happen. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick round of introductions for everybody who's here so we can kind of check in with one another. And I'm going to start with Chrissy, who is our co-host today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chrissy. I am the new volunteer engagement specialist with ATA. So if I haven't connected with you individually already, I will hopefully do so soon. So look forward to getting to know you all a little bit better.
Thanks. I'm so excited to have Chrissy with us. Alex, you're next on my list.
Welcome, Chrissy. nice to meet you. I'm Alex Schaefer, been a member of the Trail Association for quite a while and done quite a bit of trail work, and most recently have become co-steward of Section 19F. So, which is a great section. And I'm going to ask this question until I get an answer. I want to know if anybody else has a graveyard on their section or just right adjacent to their section. So looking for that data.
That's a good question. I have no idea. I don't even know the answer to that one. Rob Mason is the next on my list.
Hello. Alex, I follow up with your question by posing the question, does anyone else have a bar along their section of the trail? I do, so I think I'm the lucky one.
Which passage is yours, Rob?
33A, which is just between Buffalo Park in downtown Flagstaff and Fisher Point, south of Flagstaff. And I've been steward there for about 10 years, been on the board for about 8 years, been doing a lot of trail work.
Steve Brown.
Hi, good morning. I'm Stephen Brown, and I am one of the passage stewards for passage 19E, which is in the Superstitions just over Roosevelt Lake, and also passage 28B, which is just off the Mogollon Rim Ranger District, about 5 miles in from it, off 87.
Thanks, Steve. Mike Edwards.
Let's see, I have 40A, which is just north of the national park. And I just got in, so are we announcing anything else this morning or just that?
Yep. Yeah, just and Alex wanted to know if anybody else had a graveyard adjacent to their passage, and Rob Mason wanted to know if anybody else had a bar adjacent to their passage. So
not quite.
Doug Jensen.
Yeah, I'm with 22C and D. That's in the Mazatzals, about midway between Fountain Hills and Payson. I've got a couple mine shafts along my area, but I don't know that that's particularly unique. It's handy for storing tools now and then.
Good caching techniques. I like it. Beth Coiney.
Good morning, everyone. Beth Coiney, 18B, Montana Mountain. And while it's not on my passage, I believe that on 18A, just past, like when you come out of Picket Post, there is a cattle graveyard, at least on that passage. If you ever want to see it, Alex, I'd be happy to show it to you.
Take you up on that.
All right. How about Bev and her partner there?
Bev Showalter, 14A, which is north of Highway 77, north of Oracle State Park. And I'm looking to change to 13 whenever they let loose of that section. I want that section.
Maybe I'll put it up for auction.
Oh,
Mr. Sandercock. Oh, you're on mute. Oh, there you
Good
go.
morning. I'm Bill Sandercock. I'm on 29A above Mormon Lake. And I'm the regional steward for the Mogollon section. And I don't have any bars on my section. I do have a railroad bed, but I think that I've visited some of the bars, and that is plural, on Rob's section.
There you go. Mike Carr.
Thank you.
Sorry. Hello.
Yep, I
Everybody
hear
there?
you. Yep.
I'm 34D, no graveyard, no bar.
How about Colin? There he is. Oh, can't hear you, Colin. It doesn't look like you're muted. Now you're muted. Nope, still nothing. Well, while he figures that out, I'm going to move on to Deborah Hoover. Deb, she was having some trouble with hers as well earlier, so she wasn't sure. No audio, no video. Well, Deb is new steward up in the Pine Flats. I'm trying to remember the number of the passage. She'll put it there in chat, but really excited to have her. 27B, there we go. So excited to have her on board. See. And then Don and Joyce.
Hi, this is Don. I think Joyce has already introduced herself.
Oh.
Oh, she's telling me she hasn't. She was up here before I was. And we're both with 35A, which starts at Cedar Ranch, North Flagstaff, by Babbitt Ranch.
Oh, looks like we've got some feedback there, but yay. Thanks, guys, for joining.
Can I
us.
introduce myself?
Please do.
Well, I'm with Dawn on 35A,
There we
and
go.
I fancy we had shootouts, but no one cared enough to leave any headstones. So maybe we have a graveyard. I don't know. But we're in the new section off of Babbitt Ranches that was taken off the road. Now single track.
Welcome. Thanks for coming. Laura White, are you able to chime in? She said she might be on the road. Maybe not. Okay, let's.
Oh, sorry.
There
Yeah,
she
I
is.
had to find the tap to speak button. Sorry, I don't have video today, but I am the steward for the new 4C section, which is the new temporal gulch. I'm excited about that, and don't have any bars, but we have a beautiful spring at one end called El Pilar, which is one of my favorite places.
Yay, thanks, Laura. See, I have Mike.
Me, Mike? Mike Wary?
Yeah, there you go.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Wary. I'm a brand new stewards, segment steward for 16E. So between the Gila River and up to the rainwater collector. headed towards Picket Post Mountain. So I'm here to learn all the new stuff there is to know about stewardship on the AZT. I'm not aware of any graveyards or bars along my segment, but if anybody knows of any, I'd like to hear about it.
That would be a remote bar indeed. That section's pretty remote. Tim Colby.
Good morning. I have 22B that runs from the Cross F Ranch up to Mormon Grove. No bars. Be glad to start a bar, but that's where we stand.
All right, David Nelson. Oh, I'm not hearing you, David. Uh-oh. He said connecting to audio. ... Now you're connected. Try again. Nope. Still not getting it. Yeah, there you go. Oh, nope. I thought I had you, but.
How about now?
Ah. Nope, nope, back to mute.
Yes, you're fine. I said, why are you shaking?
Got me with.
Look who's here.
With echo?
Yep, there you go. I think so. No? All right, well. Having some trouble with that one too. There you go. I hear you now.
Can you hear me? Okay, I had to hang up my phone. Sorry. It's me and Colin, technical guys who can't get our stuff working. But I have a 9D Italian trap just north of the Rincon Mountains. And no bars. However, we mountain bike out there and we have bottles of whiskey stashed out there, if that kind of counts. And also, as far as a graveyard, if I die, you can bury me on my segment, so I can be the first one.
That's awesome. Colin, did you work it out? Do you want to try and introduce yourself?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yay!
All right, there we go. Just had to hang up and dial back in a couple times. Turn it off and turn it on again, right? Yeah, so I'm Colin Nolan. I'm a co-steward with Dave Nelson out at 9B.
All right. Well, I am really excited to have everyone here. And again, did I miss anyone? Go ahead and chime in if somehow in my trying to keep track, I missed somebody, but all right, good. Forever hold your peace at this point. Really nice to see everyone. We've got, right now there aren't very many segments in need of stewardship, which is really exciting because it means that the Arizona Trail community is really engaged in maintaining and monitoring the trail and making it the best trail that it can be. And we're on this mission now to move stewardship in from having people with a pulse who are interested to having the best trained and most engaged steward population that we can. And I think the fact that you're here is showing that that effort is working. So I really appreciate you being dedicated and committed. And I think that the people who use the trail, the users, would thank you as well if they were here. In fact, since we're all users of the trail, I think we all thank each other. So today's training is gonna mostly concentrate on this new volunteer system, which is also our new membership system and encompasses a few other things. But before I get started with that, I wanted to make a call out to all you who are who maybe haven't been notified or just thinking about it, but the upcoming event of Arizona Trail in a Day is now on the calendar. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here real quick. You can all see my screen, I hope. So Arizona Trail in a Day, scheduled for October 8th. And so the thought is, unlike a lot of our other events where folks are going to be heading out on a specific passage for a trail run or bike ride, this one every single one of us are going to have people out on our passage, and it's a great time to show them just how top quality the Arizona Trail is from top to bottom and the whole 800 miles in between. So if you have a chance to get out and monitor your passage between now and maybe the middle of September, you know, for some of us, that's a little bit tough. I know my passage there, 17 A and B, close to Picket Post Mountain, I'm probably not going to be heading out there anytime in the near future without the assistance of perhaps some air conditioning in vehicles. But if you have a chance to head out and monitor your passage, it's a really great time to make sure that any work that needs to be done prior to Arizona Trail-in-a-Day gets done. If you haven't participated in this activity in the past, it's a really exciting way to engage with the trail community and to show our love for the trail. Not only do we try to hike, bike, or ride the entire 800 miles consecutively in one day, but we also try to raise money to support the ATA and all of our programs through this activity. So you'll see on our website here, if you go to AZ Trail-in-a-Day, it's under events and linked here. You'll see that there's a way to donate and then how to participate. You can register for a section, you can support, and if you're unable to head out, you can still donate a little bit of money. You can see that there are sections, and these sections are divided differently than the passages and segments that we do for monitoring and maintenance, primarily because it's based on access and being able to travel a section within a day easily. So you'll see that a lot of these sections have already got people signed up, but not, there's still a lot that need folks to come sign up so that they can get out there and hit the trail. If you notice, they have indicated if it's perfect for hike, bike, horse, if dogs are okay. And then for some of these, for example, up in the Saguaro National Park area, it's indicated that it's a number of nights, which means that really to travel that passage, you're probably going to have to head out the day before and spend the night, and then travel the passage and potentially even spend another night just because it's so remote and difficult to access. So if you're more into those challenges, you'll see some notes there. There's been a question in the past about how volunteering for Arizona Trail-in-a-Day works. Because it is a fundraising activity and because it's also a participatory activity, there's kind of a fine line with the volunteer time. So some folks have, such as Kim Barney, our regional steward up in the Catalina Mountains, she'll put out a spread of hamburgers and other barbecue stuff, and everybody who's up doing Catalina's passages will come by and meet up together and have some food. And that's considered a volunteer activity because she's supporting people who are using the trail, much like a trail angel might. But actually hiking the segment, hiking, biking, riding on that day is not considered volunteer time because you're participating in an event in a different way. You're just enjoying the trail. However, if you're like me and you're planning to recruit a team of people to come out, and that team is fundraising, the time that I spend organizing the team and the time that I spend fundraising is considered volunteer time. So there's kind of some back and forth on there. And if you have any questions about what counts as volunteer time, I'm always happy to answer those questions. And so is Chrissy. And so just drop us a line. But we will show you how to sign up to record those volunteer hours here in just a little bit. So just a quick, if you want to enter into the chat, if you're thinking about participating in Arizona Trail-in-a-Day and what section you think you might want to take on, that would be great to share. I'd love to see what people are thinking they're going to do. Personally, I think I'm going to try and hike the section from Reddington Pass to Molino Basin with some folks. I need something nice and accessible because the next day I'm supposed to head out and do a volunteer vacation up on the Mogollon Rim. So going to try and squeeze in a hike before I head out. I'm kind of excited to do that. I don't get enough time to just hike on the trail anymore. All right, any questions about that before I move on to our next topic, which is wonderful digital world of volunteer management.
Hey, Wendy,
Yeah.
is there somewhere we can see who has signed up to hike that trail segment and, on that day, so we can see who is on our segment? Maybe do like a hamburger thing like you were talking about?
So you'll see here that you can see how many people are signed up. I believe that if you contact Carrie in the main office, she can actually, I believe she can put you in, give you the contact information for those folks.
Cool. I don't need the contact. I can't see that, what you're sharing, so I couldn't see what was on it. So it'll tell, if I look at that, I can see who is going to be doing my segment, basically how many people.
Yeah, so you'll see that on this spreadsheet, it has the number of participants who have signed up to do that particular section. And we have a max of 20 participants per section, just in an effort to try and spread people out across the state and not get everybody doing the same 4 or 5 sections that are close into town.
Got it. Got it. I zoomed in on it too. I put it on a different screen so I can see it now. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah. Great. So this is such an exciting event. Last year, I think we got 98% of the trail done. Each year there's been some special challenges, whether it was fires, floods, snowstorms one year. There's always something that comes up because it's Arizona and it's challenging. So I'm really hopeful that this year we can report that 100% of the trail got traveled. I think it would be super exciting. And so does Carrie, who, Carrie puts a lot of work into making this event happen. And so if you have any more questions about it specifically, I'm happy to try and answer them, but Carrie is really the best resource for that. All right, let's see if I can. Up here, and drag this down. I'm having some trouble with that. All right. Same problem. Sorry, just having some little display issues here. Nope, that's not what I want to see. Why are you doing that? There we go. For some reason, it's just not wanting to show me. There we go. All right, so into volunteer signups, as well as recording hours and all that kind of jazz. If you've been following any of the information coming out from the membership side of things, you'll know that we have merged our volunteer system with our membership system. And this is in an effort to both make it easier for members, volunteers, and staff, but then also to give us better information about how you as the trail community is interacting with the Arizona Trail Association. Before we had your information about what you were donating here, and then your membership here, and then your volunteerism here, and we weren't really able to get a complete picture of how people are engaged with the association and engaged with the trail. And this new system will really allow us to explore that in a more meaningful way. It also means that there are no more usernames and passwords. And that, for some of us, is a big relief as we try and track the 8 million usernames and passwords that we're required to have in daily life these days. It's kind of nice to be able to get rid of at least one of those. And what we have replaced it with is a personalized link to an engagement dashboard. And so if you haven't already gone through the process to get this link, it's pretty easy. You go back up to the portal where it says login, and you click on that, and you will be taken to a page that asks for your first and last name, zip code, and email. And what it's going to do is it's going to look up that information in the database that we already have and try to identify you. Now, for some of you, the information that we have may be a little bit older. Your zip code may not match. You may have had multiple emails in our system. And so if if you have any troubles with this and it doesn't seem to be giving you what you want, please just let us know. We're trying to go through and mesh these different databases together and get one consistent picture. But for some folks, we're having to update some of their information. But here you just enter your information, first and last name, zip code and email. And if everything goes well, fingers crossed, you will receive an email to that address that says, here is your link to your engagement dashboard. A few folks have told us that this particular email goes to their spam filter or somehow gets filtered into some weird box on their email. So if you do a search for those words, engagement dashboard, sometimes you'll be able to find it. But in this email, you'll see that there is a link below to your Arizona Trail Association engagement dashboard, and you click on that and it will open your own personal page, which looks like this. Of course, yours won't say Wendy Lotes, I hope, because if it does, then you've clicked on the wrong link. But instead it will have your name, the mailing address and information that we have for you, and a link where you can edit that contact information if it's not correct. It'll have your volunteer hours for the year for all time, and then your active membership status. And if you need to renew your membership or enter volunteer hours, there's a link here. What I have done to make it easier for myself, because this will stay the same, this address and this link will stay the same until you request a new one. And so I went into my my thing and I just made a quick, you can see there's a star here. I made a quick bookmark to this so that I could just go back to it whenever I wanted to. That way I don't have to request a new link and wait for the email and hope that the email comes in. I just made the bookmark, and every time I want to come in, it just takes me right back to this page. It'll be the same. So you'll see here is remember we used to have some content that was for members only, and you would have to log into the website to see it. Now all the links to this members only content is available here from your engagement dashboard. So you'll see we've got all of these fun partner discounts, the codes for endurance events, and then the resources such as the data book, the mountain bike passages, the day hiker's guide, and all of these other resources that are available with your paid membership to the ATA. And then it will also give you a list of your contributions to date, so you can keep track of all the wonderful financial contributions that you're making to the ATA as well. If you want to skip straight to volunteerism, up here at the top of the page, you'll see that there's members and volunteers. Rather than scrolling through, you can actually just jump right to it by clicking on the volunteerism link. And you'll see here there is a link to current opportunities to volunteer with the ATA, and I'll jump into that in just a second. There's also an interface here that you can get notified automatically for upcoming opportunities for volunteering on the trail in different parts of the state, helping out with admin and logistics, helping out with community outreach, doing trail angel and user support, helping out with participatory events, our veterans program, and then if you want to get involved with some of the more technical and mapping things that we do. Now, I'm doing a particular call right now because we're getting more and more requests to have the ATA come out and have a booth at festivals as we come out, in air quotes, come out of the pandemic. I think people are excited to have these festivals again and to have the ATA come out and talk about the wonders of the Arizona Trail. So I'm looking for more people to sign up for community outreach who might be interested in these booths. And I can let you know then when things are coming up in your area or that you might be interested in. So make sure you sign up for that if that sounds like something that might be fun for you to do when time allows. So then you have your volunteer resume. And again, this repeats again your the impact of your hours, your 10 most recent approved hours. One of the changes with this new system is that when you enter hours, it'll go through an approval process, and that just helps us to audit the entries and make sure that everything is getting into the right categories and counted for the right land managers. And then you'll see a button down here to submit hours. So that's at the very bottom of the engagement dashboard. When you click on that, it'll bring up this particular form. So enter volunteer hours. And you'll see that certain items are required. Just a brief summary of the work that you did. This helps us make sure that we get it into the right category. How many hours you spent doing that particular activity, and then the date that you began. That's what's most important. You'll notice that there is a format for hours and minutes, AM and PM. It's not necessary that you get that exactly right. In fact, the hour and minute thing is sort of a feature of the database that was added for organizations that keep track of shifts. So just whatever is close estimation is fine. It doesn't have to be precise. And then if you notice, there's also a place for the date you ended, but that's not required. If you don't want to enter the date you ended, or if it's not important, you can just skip that particular entry. And then volunteer event or campaign that this was part of. You notice here it says the name of the event or your best guess. So if you're not really sure, if it was just, you're just doing stewardship on your section, you're like, well, I just headed, oh, sorry, a little barking. Trash man. So just enter your best guess and we'll make sure to get it in the right category. And there's a place here where you can say that, you know, like, I really enjoyed that. I would absolutely do it again, or absolutely not. I would never, ever again sit in an hour-long Zoom meeting with Wendy. You can help us to shape our future activities by giving us some of those kinds of feedback. Then you just click submit. When you click submit, you will see up here where you have your most recent approved hours. There will actually be an entry here, hopefully, if everything goes well, for submitted hours that are pending approval. Then once we approve them, they'll move into the next category. If anything goes wrong with this and you get an error message, it has been happening. This is a new system, kind of being built out just for us. And so occasionally it doesn't work as expected. Please just kind of write down what you were planning on entering, and you can email it to us, but let us know about the error message. Don't spend a whole lot of time going back and forth and trying to troubleshoot it. Just save yourself some time and send us a quick email, because the more data that we have about when these errors are occurring, the more we can prevent them from occurring in the future. So just send us a quick email. If you know how to take a screenshot, that's helpful. But if you don't, just whatever you're seeing in a basic description would be really helpful to us to make sure that this system is going to work for people in the future.
Wendy?
Yes.
If my wife joins me for 8 hours of digging up cat claw along my passage, how do I add her to the volunteer hours?
So there isn't a way right now to do +1 hours. So we don't have a way for your wife or anybody else who is not recording it under their own account. You can send it to us. The best way right now is just to send me an email and say, hey, Susie joined me for 4 hours on this. And we can make sure that we get counted for that. And if it's a group of people, like if you bring a scout group out, just send us a quick email. We are working on a way to do that. But first I want to get this piece stable, and then we'll work on how we can get that piece in.
Thank you.
Good question. Thank you. Any other questions about this process?
Wendy, I have a question.
Yeah.
I've been into mine in the new system and it's got erroneous information. Like it says I'm not a member, and it doesn't have all the volunteer hours. What's the best way to get that fixed?
I would email either myself or Carrie. Go ahead and send me an email at this point. My guess is that you had 2 records, one in our membership system and one in our volunteer system, and we just need to go in and merge those 2 records. I think that's going to be the case for a number of people, because sometimes they had one email address for one and a different email address for the other. And it's pretty simple for us to go in and merge them. But since we have several thousand records, it's kind of happening as we identify the problem.
Okay, thanks.
Good. Also a very good question. Thank you. So, and if there's not any other questions, and chime in anytime you have a question, please, because I'm just going to rip through this and who knows if I'm going to get to what you want to know. I will try, but signing up for an activity, if you click here for the current list of volunteer activities on the AZT, it will open up a screen that looks like this. And you'll see some of you already signed up for this phone call, and I appreciate that. It makes it easy for me. But you'll see a listing of upcoming events and how many spaces are available in that particular event. You'll see there's a note up here that says if it's full, that you should email us to be placed on a waiting list. We're working on an automatic waiting list, but in the meantime, we're just going to manage that manually. If you want to sign up for the event, you just click on it. It's going to take a little bit to load, hopefully not too long. And you'll see details about the upcoming event. And I'm going to talk to you in just a second about how to, if you want to hold an event, how to make this page happen for your event. But you'll see there's some details. We try to include who to contact and ready to sign up. So again, you don't have to log in, but you want to make sure it's easiest if you match up that email with the email that you used to get your engagement dashboard. And the zip code, again, just helps us to verify that you have registered, that you're the same person. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign up for this event. It's not necessary to enter your phone number. The phone number is just another verification that you're the right person. I have been finding that it works better when people don't enter their phone numbers because there are so many different phone numbers out there. But if you have trouble registering, maybe try the phone number and see if that helps. But it will process your registration. It'll ask you if you're signing up for yourself or if you're bringing some family members. So this would be how, if you want to bring a few more people, you can add some +1s on your registration. There will be different questions depending on what we've indicated in our signups. But you have dietary restrictions, whatever those are, let us know. And then you'll see that there's a liability waiver that you need to sign off on in order to sign up and let them know that I'm 18 years or older. Would you like to receive periodic emails about our work? If you unclick that, you'll be opted out of a lot of emails and you may not receive the notifications that you want. So if you find that you're getting too many emails, rather than unclicking that, go ahead and drop me a note and we can figure out why you're receiving too many. But I think for now, the best idea is to keep that selected. It will confirm, and then you'll see, hopefully at the bottom of the screen here. Doop, doop, doop. There's just a little chance to donate to the Arizona Trail. We're going to give you as many chances as we can to give us money because that's just, the way we are. Hopefully you will receive an email. I don't know if I'm going to receive it yet. There should be a confirmation email sent. Might take a minute on this slow system here. There it is. If everything goes according to plan, you'll receive an email from the Arizona Trail Association thanking you for registering, with some basic information about who to contact and the rest. Hopefully you will also receive a reminder email that you have signed up for this. I think I have it set for 3 or 4 days in advance of the event. So a reminder email, and usually we send out an email a little bit before that with some additional details for participants. And so trying to make sure that everybody gets reminded so they show up and we don't have as many no-shows for future events. Any questions about that process? If you don't want to go into the engagement dashboard to find out events that are happening around you and you want to sort of check out what's going on, you can always go to the volunteer page either through there or through the green button at the top. Ooh, that's no good. There we go. And you'll see that there's a click here to check out our volunteer opportunities. That'll take you to that same link. There's also a link here to request your personal engagement dashboard address in case you want to go in through there, and then information about the Trail Skills Institute. We also have our calendar, which has all of the upcoming events in it on a calendar form. This is something that we're still updating manually. It doesn't update automatically. So if there's anything that you see that's inconsistent on the calendar, please, again, just let us know so that we can make sure to make that connection. Rather than waiting for that. Unless there are other questions about signing up for activities, I wanted to cover how stewards can get their work events listed to recruit volunteers. And even if you're not planning to recruit volunteers, if you're heading out to do work on your section, we really like to not only know that you're heading out, but also to be able to share with our land management partners how engaged our stewards are, how often they're going out and doing work, aside from just the hours that they're logging, but just sort of giving them a heads up and demonstrating to them the power of our volunteer system. So here on our resources for AZT stewards page, if you go to get involved, you'll see that it's listed under resources for AZT stewards. All of you on this call should be very familiar with this page. You should be visiting this page at least once so that you know what's here and hopefully using it. You'll see that on this page, here's where, again, you can request a link to that personal engagement dashboard. And I have that pro tip of bookmarking the link to that so that you can make sure to get a shortcut to entering your hours and tracking your participation. Submitting a volunteer event or opportunity to the ATA calendar. So here is where you would go to let us know that you're going to be out there working on the trail and you do or do not perhaps want some assistance from other ATA volunteers. Looks like the calendar loaded finally. Ah, see, there it is. I'm trying to be efficient with my time here. So here you'll see the upcoming events. And when you click on the event, it'll give you a little bit more information. And again, here's another link to that volunteer portal where you can sign up for it. You'll also see on this calendar that there's another link to that registration portal and the opportunity submission form. So I've tried to put it in as many places as I can so that you can find it pretty easily. So here is the form for getting your event on the calendar. You'll see that we have basic information. And again, the little asterisk indicating what is required to get it listed. We want to know who you are, whether you're a steward on that particular passage, the name of the activity, and then start date and time, end date and time. And it says here, estimates are okay. We just kind of want to have a time frame to tell people when you're going to be out there. You get to select your passage from the drop-down button and the total number of volunteers that you want to have participating. And this gives us the ability to cap that. So if you're like, I'm heading out, but I don't want more than a couple of people coming out with me, or it's just going to be me and a couple of my friends, I don't actually need more volunteers, but I want to let you know that I'm going to be out there. And you can just enter, 0, and you can make a note about what you're trying to accomplish. The meeting location, and this is again, if you know what it is at this point, but then I have a question about whether or not to publish the meeting location. I know a lot of times I will not publish the meeting location in the event listing because I don't want people showing up without registering. If you say we're going to meet at 8 o'clock in the morning at this trailhead, people can say, oh, well, I want to just head out and say I'm going to be there. And usually it's not a problem, but if you're concerned about that, that's one way that we can control, make sure that people register in order to come. A brief description. And if you want to include any photos, right now we're not able to put photos in the listings, but we're hoping to be able to do that in the near future. So we made sure there's a spot on the form for that. You can submit it. You can also save it and continue later if you want to be working on this for a while. So it gives you a chance to modify it later and then submit it when you're ready. And that will generate an email that comes to Chrissy and I, and we'll get it plugged into the database and recruit some volunteers to help you out. If you're hoping also to get some help from us, like you're like, I want to go out and I think I'm probably going to need 10 volunteers, but I think I'm going to need some help because I need tools and I need this and I need that. Definitely include that in your description or your notes. We want to work with you and make sure that you have everything you need to successfully maintain your segment. Any questions about this form or how it's used?
Wendy, just a quick comment. It sure seems much more intuitive now. This whole
Thanks.
system. It looks like even I could figure it out.
That's my goal. Maybe I should make you one of my beta testers. Like Rob can figure it out. Then it's working. And again, like there are some little bugs in the system, and so if you run into any of those, just make sure that you let us know. But I think we're coming to a place where it will be just a little bit easier for people to get in and interact with the data and get the stuff that they need listed. See. So that covers hours, that. And again, +1 hours, just give me an email. If there's somebody who you don't think has a volunteer contact, just send me an email. We'll make sure that we get credit for those hours. We don't want to lose any hours ever, ever, ever. And I know that all of you are probably sick of me saying this, but remember that every hour, including the hour that you just spent listening to me chat, really counts, is very important to the ATA in terms of our overall funding and our our longevity as an organization. So appreciate your conscientiousness in trying to get all of this information to us. And as we make more changes to this and get it more dialed in, I'm going to continue to have these virtual meetings so that when we do have in-person meetings, we can spend more time doing training on the physical and fun parts of trail work and building our community. So if you have questions, always email them to me because maybe I can integrate them into this. And then I'm going to be making video trainings like I did for the other system that you'll be able to watch, as well as written guides so that you'll be able, if you forget any of these steps, you'll be able to refer to a document that'll walk you through it. I'm just sort of waiting for what I've got to be nice and stable so that I can make sure that I'm not duplicating effort on that. So one other piece that I wanted to cover before I release y'all to the wonders of the world and under resources for Arizona Trail Stewards, you'll see that there is a interactive map online in the sign and gate inventory submission form. We've covered this a few times, but we were having some technical issues that we decided we just couldn't quite solve. So instead, we're just providing some instruction, and that is when you click view the Steward interactive map online, you'll see that it says, please sign into ArcGIS online. None of us have a password to sign into this. So don't worry about if you see this and you're like, I don't have a password. The instructions here actually say, click cancel 3 times. It's like, that's our workaround. We haven't been able to figure out why it's asking us this, but we just click cancel. It'll ask us again, and we'll click cancel, and then we'll click cancel. Not sure why it's doing that, but the best way to work around is just to keep clicking cancel. So ignore it as if it doesn't exist. So on this particular map, there it is again. It's just tricksy. There we go. So this map has an inventory that was taken a few years ago and has been updated somewhat spottily since then. It has all of the signs, including all of the small fiberglass or carcinite posts that we have stickers on. It has all of the gates, whether they're Arizona Trail gates or just cowboy gates. And then it also has all of the road crossings and that kind of stuff inventoried on it. So if you need to zoom into your particular passage and find out the sign information, because we want to try and keep this updated as much as possible. And so if you're out and you notice that a sign has fallen down, for example, you can find its approximate location. You'll see that it has an inventory number, and it has also the lat long information for where that sign is located. And then there's actually an image of the sign that was taken at some point. So what we would like to ask is that if you see things like signs falling down, gates being pulled out, whatever it is, changes to these things, that you take a picture of the sign and send us that information along with whatever changes have happened. So you can get information about the sign from this map. And if you go to the resources, you'll see that there's a sign and gate inventory submission form. Some of the signs also have 2 pictures, one taken northbound and one taken southbound. Another change that might need to happen is updating stickers on the signs. So if you do update the stickers, then we want to update the picture so that it's accurate. But here's that sign and gate inventory. So it says to please provide either the lat long or the inventory ID for updating the point. And so that's what you get from this map. You'll see that there is a lat long indication, and then also the sign number, which is this number here, 3030. I think we've talked about this in previous Steward conferences that when the trail was initially being established, there were many areas where it got very little use, and the trail signage was important because the trail could be difficult to find or would disappear in certain seasons. With the amount of use that the trail is getting statewide now, it's pretty unlikely that we need the same level of signage that we have had historically. We have sign guidelines for how often we want to have signs, and the best guidance is that we want signs anywhere that there is a navigational decision to be made. So if you're crossing a road, intersecting another trail, perhaps even dipping in and out of a big drainage or something where people might get confused about which way they should go, that's an appropriate location for potentially appropriate location for signage. For places such as up on the Happy Jack Passage, there might have been signs every 200 or 300 feet just to indicate, going across a meadow or something like that. On average, we calculated it out that a person encounters a sign on the Arizona Trail every quarter mile. And that's just probably a little bit too much for a true wilderness experience. So one of the things that's happening is we're starting to remove a lot of that old signage, especially those fiberglass or carcinite posts, many of which end up falling over. Cattle like to lean on them and break them off. They burn in fires. Lots of different things happen to these posts, but they're not a permanent kind of fixture. There's places where we are replacing those with the steel posts. If you guys have seen the steel posts with the metal sign on top. And if you have some locations that you think would be good for that, contacting the folks at Trail Ops is a great option. But simply evaluating signage on your passage and saying, hey, I have all these signs that I don't think are necessary. And then what we want to do at that point is document which signs we want to remove. Make sure that we're letting the Forest Service know that we're removing those signs, because technically those signs are the property of the Forest Service, even though they're on our passage. Let them know, hey, I want to pull out all of these signs, and then we'll make the list and update the sign inventory when we remove them. But sometimes the sign is the right sign and it either needs to be replaced because the cows have knocked it down. Maybe somebody used it as target practice with their shotgun. There's a lot of things that happen to these signs. So this is a good way to update the condition and the inventory for those items. Here you'll see also that the X is a road crossing inventory, and that gives you some information about that. And then there's a gate. There it is. This little sandwich looking thing kind of looks like a stack of lines. That's a gate inventory. And again, there'll be a picture of that gate associated with it. And if there's any changes to that, we'll want to know about that as well. This looks like one of our happy super gates. Using this, this can also be a useful tool for stewards, not only doing sign inventories, but also for sort of planning out activities on your segment. A lot of times it'll have information about access into your passage. And then you can change the base map to actually have an aerial image behind it. We'll see if I can load it up here because my slow internet connection might not like that amount of information. There we go. And sometimes this helps us to do some basic evaluation for access, camping sites, that kind of thing. One of the things that I run into when I'm using the aerial is that we've got these layers on top that have shading. If you click on a random spot, you'll notice that it says that this is forest, which means this this layer is actually talking about the land ownership for that particular piece of land. All of the land ownership within within a mile of the Arizona Trail is indicated here. So if you want to turn off some of these layers so that you can see a little better, you can come over here to this box that looks like a stack of maps and click on that, and you'll see that you can turn off different layers off and on. So I'm going to turn off land ownership within 10 miles, and I'm going to turn off the segments, and then maybe the sign inventory as well. And now I'm able to zoom in and kind of get a better idea. It'll take a while to render it full resolution, but you can get some good aerial images this way. And for many of us, it's a good tool for helping to plan events or figure out where we might be able to access the trail. There's also a layer for water source locations, which is handy. And then wildland fire information. We have the perimeters for a lot of the recent fires that occurred. And if you click on a segment, there's also a fun little thing that'll give you the profile for that particular segment. So you can look it up for your segment, see if you indeed do have one of the toughest segments to hike in the whole Arizona Trail, like you bragged to all of your friends about. So that is, any questions about the map before I move on? Yep. I encourage you to kind of play with this. I find geographic information systems maps like this, GIS maps like this, to be endlessly fascinating. I end up going down a rabbit hole and looking at things that I don't even need to know as I find what looks like a water hole and like, oh, can I get to that water hole from there? But it's a lot of fun. And the nice news is that there's absolutely no way for you to break this data. So anything that you do won't compromise anything for anybody else. So you can just turn things off and on and play with it on your own and know that it's pretty secure. Oh, looks like John Yazzie joined us. Nice to see you. Hi. So for our last little bit here, I want to give anybody a chance who wants to talk about what's going on in their passage or ask any other questions about events on the ATA or anything else that might be pressing. Share any plans they have for activities coming up. This is a chance for you to kind of connect with the community and let us know what's going on.
Well, up here, I'm just getting a lot of rain on my passage. And so I've been doing a lot of digging, clearing out sediment.
Yeah, I just recently drove through from New Mexico into northern Arizona, and I was just floored by the amount of water just standing by the side of all the highways. There's been a lot of rain up here, which is great news, but also means there's trail work to be done.
Yeah, there's a cattle tank that for many years, it's always been dry, but within just, within the last couple years or 3 years, it's just full of water. So if anything, the storms are more intense, they seem.
Well, all right. Again, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us today. If you have any questions after you hang up and you go in and you start playing with the system, please don't hesitate to let us know right away. Like I said, don't spend a whole lot of time futzing with it. I'd rather try and solve your problem right away rather than having you get frustrated with it. Because once you're frustrated with it, it's always hard to get you back on the side of enjoying it again. And if you have any plans for events or you have any questions about getting people out to help you on your passage, be happy to chat about that as well. We have a very busy season coming up. I think I mentioned in one of my previous steward letters that we're really ramping up our offerings for public volunteer events and engaging people statewide. And I'm really excited about that. So I don't want anyone to think that we're too busy to help them out with their passage, though. We have Chrissy helping us with volunteer engagement, and then we have Tasha in Southern Arizona and Olivia in Northern Arizona helping us to plan and run events. So if there's anything that you need help with or want to make happen on your passage, just let us know, and we're here to make that happen. And with that, unless anyone has any other last minute pressing and burning needs, I will say thank you for coming and enjoy the rest of your beautiful monsoon day.
Thank you.
Bye.